Hi, guys, and welcome to episode 6 of the Lazy Vagabonds podcast with me, Dan.
And me, Jordan.
And today we have our special guest, Zoard. And he is from Serbia, but
Yes.
Hungarian. Serbia, but
Yes.
Hungarian, right? That's how you
Yes.
say it? Okay, yeah. I'm here in the Shetland Islands whilst I've come here for work to save money. And Zard's here for the same reason as me. I met him about a week ago now when he got here. And he's done a lot of traveling in his time, so we thought we'd bring him on and get him to discuss his journey. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, man?
All right. My name is Zoard. I was born in Vojvodina, which is the northern 1/3 of Serbia. So basically, I'm a Hungarian person, born and raised in Serbia. So my ethnicity and nationality are different because of that reason. So English is my third language. And yeah, Hungarian being my first, Serbian being my second, English being my third.
Yeah.
And there is still a huge Hungarian minority in my country at the north part, which is really close to the Hungarian border, and I own dual citizenships, thankfully, of Hungary and Serbia. The Hungarian citizenship is really good when I want to travel to America or work in the EU, but if I want to travel east with the Serbian one, I don't need a visa to go to China or Mongolia or Russia.
That's good.
It means you can go pretty much everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's really cool.
One is for the east, one is for the west. The only better thing about the EU one is just working, basically, that it lets you work
financially.
Instantly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
That's why after Brexit happens, I'm gonna have to get a Bulgarian passport, man. It's gonna be so useful.
Yeah, I'll just deal with it. Hopefully we'll be making money by then. But yeah. So to start off with, I guess a good starting point is obviously you told me that you went traveling at a very young age.
I lied.
Did you? No, but you said you went traveling when you were 16, like properly. So I guess to start off with, why don't you talk about what it is that made you want to travel and why setting off at such a young age?
So basically, like I started to travel, and when I said like travel, by that I meant like, traveling for money, doing stuff for money when I was 16. But since I was like a young kid, when I was born, my country was still called Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
So for example, my grandparents, they had a nice villa at the Croatian beach.
Yeah.
And they were seven siblings. And they bought this like big, huge place.
Mm-hmm.
One of my first memories were going there, on like summer holidays.
Yeah.
And all the siblings had like a big room. And the idea was that, their children or grandchildren can, stay there anytime they want to go and, see the sea.
Yeah.
Because back then, when Yugoslavia was big, when they bought it, it was mandatory to go on a holiday for like 3 weeks to the Croatian coast, because this was like a bit of like a propaganda, like how much you just look at this beach, it's so beautiful, you see it, you have to protect this beautiful country. So that was like my first memory of traveling.
Yeah.
So to me, from a young age, it was normal to just go to other countries. And when it turned to Serbia and Montenegro, which was my country, so I was born in Yugoslavia. This is a bit funny. I always tell this to Westerners.
Yeah.
I always lived in the same place, yet the country changed 3 times. When I was born, it was called Yugoslavia, which means like South Slavs, the land of the South Slavs. Then it was Serbia and Montenegro until 2005, and then it's now just Serbia.
Yeah.
And I moved, and I always had to get new passports because of this, and new IDs. So after that, our like family tradition was that we always went to Montenegro, which is Crna Gora, which means Black Mountain.
Yeah.
Which was the other country, southwest to Serbia, and they were the only ones that they had the coast. So after the war and everything, Serbs did not really want to go to Croatia because they will be disliked. So everybody went to the sea at Montenegro because, you know, it's still the Adriatic Sea. It's still really nice. If you like rocky beaches, you should go there. Croatia, by the way, overrated. Don't go there.
Really? I always heard that Croatia was amazing, man.
Croatia is fine, but Croatia nowadays, because a lot of Westerners go there, they ask for like a pretty hefty price nowadays.
Alright.
So
So there's better places for cheaper.
Yeah. So if you want to go to the same coastline, to the same sea, you should go to Montenegro, I think, which is like more secluded, not as expensive. I would not say better because, you know, if it's not as expensive, that means not as high of a maintenance as well.
Yeah.
So, but still, if you like secluded beaches or like, you know, just like rock climbing, you know, trying to find a new beach, that would be a better place for you.
Okay.
Montenegro. So that was my family's tradition that we always went down. My father doesn't drive, my mother drives. So we always drove down in the beginning of August until the end of August, every year for like 6 years or 7 years straight.
Okay.
And like that was one of like the first traveling experiences of mine. I mean, you know, as a Hungarian, I've always been to Hungary, like since I've been like 5 or 6, but that wasn't like, you know, going somewhere exotic. It's just because I live really close to the border. It's just, you know, you just go over it. That's it.
Yeah. It's like driving to a different city in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like no hassle, no nothing. You just go through the border. That's it. Done. You're in Hungary now. And I'm like, I already speak my language in my city, and that's because my city where I'm from, Kanizsa, or Magyar Kanizsa, or Kanizsa in Serbian, it's 80% Hungarian. So that's like the only place in Serbia where the majority are not Serbs.
Yeah.
So you speak your own language there. So when I just go up north, it's the same, you know. I just cross the border, I still speak Hungarian. That's nothing, like you don't have this like special feeling in your soul, you know, when you go to like a new place that you didn't know. You feel that, you know, when you go to somewhere exotic. You don't go over to the neighboring city or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's still looking the same.
It doesn't feel like as much of an occasion.
Exactly. So this is why I'm not really counting like those times. So this was like for like 6 or 7 years. I'm not sure, but we went there always, but for 30 days straight. Not even for 2 weeks or 1 week, so 30 days straight.
In that situation then, was it sort of a standardized thing that everyone sort of took a month off work in August in a way then, or were people still employed during that time?
Usually
the whole country goes dead.
But you see, like, if everyone's going down to the water, I don't know.
No. The thing was that most people can take like a week and a half holiday, but well, week and a half, or like maybe 3 weeks if you're lucky. But my mother, who is a head bookkeeper at the place, she was able to take like 3 or 4 weeks off.
Okay.
And my father as well. So the idea was, because my father doesn't drive, that my mother is driving down there. So I'm going to say this in kilometers. So that was around 750 kilometers to drive down there. So basically you have to go south for a long time. And then you have to turn southwest. And then you will be at the beaches, and then you will find all these nice cities at the coastline. But the idea there, the way that we always went, was we never stayed in like Budva or Kotor, where these are like cities in Montenegro where all the tourists go. These are like seaside cities.
Okay.
We always stay a bit up on the mountains, where it's less expensive to stay. Well, you know, we went there, and I remember because we on like our first trips we had this Yugo, you know, which is like an old Yugoslav car, which is absolutely terrible. But it's trustworthy, but it's terrible. It's like it makes a lot of smog. You just when you sit inside it, you just feel like all the time, and it's like 15 hours of driving that car. Then we upgraded to another Yugo, well made by the same company more or less, Zastava, which is also an old Yugoslav car. So we never had a proper Western car either. And my mother stopped driving because she doesn't have to drive, because everything in my town is like close to her. So the last car so we never had like a proper good Western car or anything. We just had these like old Yugoslav type of like diesel machines that is just crazy. And we went down, but they're trustworthy in the way that when you go up the mountain, go down the mountain, it's not going to die on you. You can like still drive. It's an old car, but still trustworthy enough.
It's not going to break down and stuff. You're all good.
Exactly. So when we went down, the idea was always like go in August, because that's when most people take their summer holidays off. But another good idea would be, to be honest, if I would be in the same place, I would say you should go down there in like September. Like try to make your holiday like the last week of August plus like 2 weeks in September, because that way in like September it's still kind of hot. It's not like crazy hot, because in Montenegro when it's August, you get crazy. It's that hot. Like you have to go into the water every 15 minutes if you don't want to boil alive. And because of that, you can take like the last week of August and then 2 extra weeks in like September. Okay. Because in September all the people come back, all the people go back to work, and then you will have the beach to yourself, more or less.
Okay.
So that's like the best time to go. End of August, early September.
Yeah, early September. So try getting there like in the middle of August, end of August, and then stay a few weeks in September, and it's still more or less the same weather. But in Montenegro, the thing is that you have to know is that because it's like really, really, really hot, the storms hit it really hard. So it might be like you have great fun for 5-6 days in a week, right? It's like really hot, really nice. But then the 7th day is the biggest storm you've ever seen, and like 10-meter waves and everything. But the next day, it's all back to normal, except when you go into the sea, and you go into the sea, you have your goggles, you go underwater, you just see a lot of fucking grass or like earth or like trash. These were like all that the waves washed in. So that's like a bit of like a weird thing. But to me, that was like the first time that I felt like, that's like something exotic, that's like different from back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And seeing all those mountains and seeing the sea, that was like really special to me, because where I'm from, that part of Serbia is just plain. It's just, plains and fields, and that's it. They're growing they grow their like wheat, some animals, and then that's it, more or less. Like you don't see mountains. You have to go like 160 miles to see mountains.
Yeah.
And then you have to go like another 600 miles just to see sea. So
is Serbia landlocked?
Serbia now is landlocked. When it was Serbia and Montenegro, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Obviously, Montenegro's got the beaches, like you said. But yeah. So like when you were going to the coast, is that like the first time you went to a beach and stuff?
Well, yes and no, because I would say that was the first time I went to a proper beach. And I'm saying proper beach because my town or small city back home, it's called a small city, but here I guess in England or the UK it would be called
a village.
No, not a village. It would be called a town.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Because it's like 12,000 people, and right in the middle of it there is this river called the Tisa, which goes into the Danube at Novi Sad, or near Novi Sad, not at Novi Sad. And a lot of people, I mean, it's like a tradition in my city and everywhere on the river banks that you have to like swim through the river and stuff. But and we had a lot of beaches even back then, like in the 60s when my father was young. They had like these proper sandy beaches there, but now it's just mud. the river is dirty, like absolutely dirty. It stinks. If you go into the river, you cannot wash off the smell for 2 days at least.
Jesus Christ.
It's just muddy, terrible.
Sounds like the rivers in England.
Yeah, sounds like the
more-
Thames, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, so a lot of people actually, swim in that because they have like no other option. They cannot allow themselves to go to the sea or something. So that's the first time I've seen a beach and and I've seen like people swimming when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
But then when you once just go and you go somewhere in one of the seas of the Mediterranean, be that the Adriatic or the Ionic, whatever, it's just so different. Like you cannot go back to, okay, I'll go back to my muddy river and I'll swim in this. It's almost the same, If I close my eye, it's going to be the same. Yeah, if I close my eye, then I feel the smell a lot worse. Actually.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So obviously that was when you were younger with your family. So as you got older and you approached sort of turning the age of 16 when you left the country to work and stuff, what was the mindset? Like what made you, obviously you said financial gains, but like how soon did you know that that's what you wanted to do?
So, well, more or less, I wasn't going to other countries to work when I was 16. It was like when I was 17.
Okay.
And more or less what happened was, when I was young, like when I was 14, I went on a round trip of Italy. I hit, most of like the famous cities.
Was this by yourself or with family?
It was with my mother and with a Catholic
He's
church.
14 years old, Dan. He's not going on his own, is he?
I know. I'm just asking, just in case there was some crazy.
There's like some crazy 14-year-old with his little backpack on, just running around Italy.
Exactly. You never know.
Yeah. So you went to see like the Colosseum and that.
Yeah, and the Colosseum, and see Naples, see Venice, great.
Yeah, Venice, man. Venice is so nice.
Yeah, it is nice. And then after that, but since this time I've been to like at least 6 different countries, like different times, but just as a tourist.
Yeah.
So, but the last thing when I was 16 which was in 2011, was that because back then, I was like training kickboxing, I was training martial arts. So my trainer and I went to China as well. And we've been there for like one and a half months. Yeah, but it was like it's like hard to tell how long we've been there because it was mostly just traveling because China is gigantic.
Yeah.
Like obviously, China is more populous than Europe, so like so it's like traveling through Europe more or less. And it's still one country. And then when I got back from there in like, this was like 2011, and it was like autumn time. Then I was like, okay, I cannot stay here, I cannot work. Like I realized how terrible the wages were, and I spoke English, and then I was like, this cannot work. And then the Hungarian government said that we can get the Hungarian citizenship finally.
Yeah.
As Hungarians who've been living in Serbia or have like Hungarian ancestors who lived in the Austro-Hungarian Empire before the First World War. So this was like a life-changing experience to me. Not because I was like, oh, now I'll feel much more Hungarian. I always felt Hungarian. That's my main language. When I go to South Serbia, the Serbs are like, oh, you speak Serbian, but you speak a bit weirdly. Why is that? It's that accent. And that's my Hungarian. So it doesn't matter if I have a Hungarian citizenship or I don't. I'm still a Hungarian.
Yeah, that's how you feel in your soul.
Exactly. And then, but when they were like, okay, you can get the Hungarian citizenship now, I was like, oh yeah, nice. Now I can work in the West. Oh, so good for me.
And that must have been such a ridiculous change for you to be able to do that. Like,
opened
so many doors.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous change. The thing that I was happy about was that I already spoke English to some extent.
Yeah.
because my mother was really serious about like language training when I was young.
That's good,
like,
man.
Since I was like 6 or 7, I had to always go to like after school English classes to take them, and then just to learn, how to speak
I
it.
wish my parents would have made me do more language lessons, man. It would be so cool to speak multiple languages.
Yeah. But we got lucky, man. We speak English as the first language. Like, I think if you
Universal level, yeah.
like
Universal.
English, I think is so important.
It's an important language, but still, I remember when I was like in 5th grade, you had to vote, like, well, not you, but like your parents had to vote, like, do you want your kid to learn German or English?
Yeah.
And it was like 20 to 4 or something like that, which was in the favor of English.
Yeah.
But then, for whatever reason, like the school system changed a bit, and then we had to learn both languages. And I remember, like, I never wanted to learn German. Like, I hate that language with a passion.
Really?
Absolutely. Sorry, our future German viewers. I'm sorry, or Austrian or Swiss.
Yeah. His opinion does not reflect ours.
No.
I love German people. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're just kidding. Yeah, everybody hates Germans. No, what I'm saying is, like, I never, like, when I was in school, I tried to learn it, but I do feel like, if some type of language is just like, it doesn't sound like right to you, or like it doesn't come to you naturally, like,
Yeah.
like you just cannot force yourself, to learn it, to be invested in it, to learn it. I mean, you could learn it, but in some languages you're just not.
You're
just not
naturally better at
invested.
learning
Yeah,
some languages
exactly.
over others.
And obviously the thing is that if you speak, for example, Spanish, and that's your main language, right?
Italian and stuff.
Or Portuguese, really
or like
easy,
Germans
or
and
Romanian.
Dutch, kind of.
Yeah, German, Dutch, Austrian. But when your main language is Hungarian, you cannot learn anything on this planet, because that's such a unique, fucked up language, and then that's it. Like, you have nothing to compare it to, and that's why I'm happy that I learned Serbian as well, because now I can speak Croatian, and the Bulgarians actually understand me when I speak Serbian.
Yeah.
So I can communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
So to some extent, that opened a lot more doors as well.
Yeah.
And then English, like, I don't know for what reason, because I don't think, because I remember when I was like 3 or 4 years old and playing these old games. I don't know if any of you guys know it. It's like putt games. It's like this purple little car, and then he's like saying the colors and stuff. And that was this like old, those CD-ROMs that made me love English.
Don't think I know of these games.
Yeah, of course, because you speak English, but those were the ones. It's like,
so like the little purple car gave you the words.
Yeah. The little purple car is like, click here, like, here are the words, this and that. Okay. You have to save the zoo, you have to do, I don't know, carnival. And that was when I was a kid. I was like, oh, this language is good.
I can't say I've ever played that game. Yeah.
You should, especially as an adult. It's really nice. So like that was my main that was when I realized, okay, this is another language. Because to me it was like really natural, because my parents, well, I wouldn't say that they forced me to learn other languages, but both of them are like educated people.
Yeah.
So you have to speak other languages as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more or less, well, forced, but I thought it was like just playing,
Yeah.
They encouraged you to do it.
Yeah, encouraged. Yeah. Well, it wasn't really encouraged, because they always put me into this like private English lessons.
I bet you're thankful now, though.
Yeah, I'm really thankful. Yeah, so I wouldn't say like encouraged. It was like, but
forcefully encouraged.
Just games.
Yeah.
If you know
just
how to
pushed
play
in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying anything bad about that. What they were doing is like, oh, it's just games. But in the future, this game will come in handy. And I'm like, no, I don't understand how. I don't understand why. But now I understand.
I want to play football, Mum.
I was like, these are shit games.
I don't give a shit about this purple car, Mum.
now I speak the language. So yeah, so after that, so after China, after I came back, basically I was dating a girl from my town, and we've been dating for a while. So I was like 17, 18. Back then, like I've seen I was 17 actually, but we've been together for like two years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized because my mother works for the government more or less. She's the head bookkeeper, and we moved in together with this girl. She was like 16, I was 17. And then I asked my mother, can you get me any jobs around here? Because everybody back home, you need to have someone in the government or to get any job, like any job whatsoever. So they put me in this like gardening project, which was basically like you have to do the gardening for like parks or like the
maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance more or less, or like around the social housing. They have a lot of grass that you need to cut, lot of weeds you have to weed out, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was like the main job, and I've got a 6-month contract. Well, in Serbia, the money was 180 euros per month, not per week, per month. So that's a crazy low, crazy low. And I had a 6-month contract with them. And after 2 months, I said, fuck it, I'm going to stop this. This is too much for me.
Not worth
this is nothing. Then I realized that my country is dying. I mean, I knew it before, but like, what can you do? I've never been to the West, like, where people speak English. To most countries in Eastern Europe by that time. I've been to China as well, but then I was like, never been to West, and I always hear from people that the Westerners are so much different than we are.
Yeah.
So then it was like, well, I have no choice. I'm not going to, stay home and work for this chum change.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I said, okay, I'll go somewhere, and I was thinking like, where should I go? Like a lot of people go to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of us actually speak German, and I was just like lazy and I was too uninterested in their language to learn it.
Yeah.
You hated that language apparently.
Well, but I speak English, so what choice do I? I need to go to an English-speaking country. So it was obviously England or the United Kingdom. I would not have minded if it was Scotland or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was when I first came to the United Kingdom, which was in London, but I didn't have a job here or anything. I just went out to a friend's friend, then I was paying rent there, but but this love was still like really new, So after like a week or two, I was like, this is not for me. I want to go home, be with my love, and that's where I fucked up a lot.
Yeah.
So I just went back home, right?
Oh no.
Was it you were homesick?
Yeah, I was, well, not really homesick because I don't care about my home. I cared about the girl that I loved. So that was the main reason. So I went back home. And the funny thing is that we broke up like a year after.
Yeah.
So I was like,
sounds about right.
now what will I do?
Yeah.
Then I came back to England, and I've been working for this company for a while, and they always offered me like live-in jobs. So like live-in job here, live-in job here, live-in job here, which was all right. So that's the way that I got most of my money in my life.
So did you come to England with like no job prospects, no nothing? You just thought, fuck it, I'm just gonna come, and then
yeah. When I was 17,
like barely any money, and and that's a risk.
And then when I came in, I was like, I miss my girlfriend. Ooh, I have to go home. And then I went home. But I feel like that was a different than back then, I feel like I was a kid.
Did you come here with the job in place, or just completely like find a job once you get here?
Yeah, find a job first time, yeah. But after that, I was like, I realized.
How long did it take you? Was it hard to find a job at first when you got here?
Yes, because I was living in East Acton in London, but I had a few I had a few, I'd say, acquaintances who lived here,
Yeah.
and my godmother as well. And my godmother sent me to this agency, which was absolutely terrible.
Most of them are.
And they're like, we need hotel workers. But the main problem is, guys, if anyone from Eastern Europe is watching this or will be watching this, if you go anywhere and the agency is full of Eastern Europeans and you're an Eastern European, fucking run. There will
Why?
be no good future for you.
Okay.
Because the main thing here is that they came from Eastern Europe. They have this agency.
Yeah.
And they know exactly how vulnerable the Eastern Europeans are. Like when they don't speak English or anything. So they just like put
Give
you
them the
out
shit
and
jobs.
exactly.
Yeah, shit money. Do you know what that sounds like, mate? That sounds like farm work in Australia.
Yeah, it really does. We had similar experiences in Australia. We'd like go to a farm and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get paid hourly," and then we'd get there and it would be paid in piece rate instead, which is their way of sort of saying you're gonna get paid per nut rather than like per hour. And it's like, so you're just cramming as much work in as you can, and then at the end of the month, it's like, oh yeah, you got $600 this week, a month, like.
Yeah, they basically do whatever they can to fuck you over.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So
yeah, anyway, man, carry on. So you got to England, you got this job.
Yeah.
You're working there.
So more or less, But the funny thing was that this agency said that you have to like, I don't know. For example, my hotel employs you.
Yeah.
But you have to do 2 days, like training days, unpaid.
Yeah.
And then after you do that, they might not employ you. They just say the agency goes up to you and says, okay, 2 days in the other hotel now, also unpaid. So they try to keep you like this.
So like they make you do a week odd of training or something for
at
their money
least,
first.
because they are always sending you somewhere, and they're like always for this like extra unpaid.
And then
work.
would they like towards the end of that just be like, oh, you're not good enough, and then get someone else in to do the same?
More or less.
So they're just continually not paying.
Yeah. So and because of this, and as I said, I was in London. Like this memory is like terrible. Like I remember like how sad, how desperate I was, and I was in England. Like you can find a lot of jobs, and I had many jobs since that time, but I was like just like absolutely
because it was like you first got here, so you didn't know sort of how to go about it properly.
Exactly.
Probably gave you a really crap impression of England. You probably thought, fuck this place.
The shittiest impression ever. But then the funny thing was, I got in contact with like this agency, and then they were saying like, oh, we'll get you a job, this and that, but you have to pay us a lot of money, like a lot. I mean, like for a lot for me back then. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll pay you that. And then nothing came up. I went home. I was like, oh well, finally I'm with my girlfriend. And then I just got this email like, they want to be a kitchen porter in Leeds.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't mind being a kitchen porter personally because they still get paid, still better than being back home.
Yeah,
it's still a shit job. Porter. But also,
I've been a kitchen porter as well, mate.
No, it's been a kitchen.
but it's in Leeds, so it's like not some bumfuck town.
Yeah, Leeds is just down the road from me now.
It's a big city.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a nice city.
But then I was like, I'm back home. I'm not going to leave now. Oh, okay, no problem. We'll keep a job open for you. And then I said, okay, yeah, no problem. And then after 2 years, because I still paid them and they did not take their job, so they still owed me a job.
Yeah.
After 2 years or 1.5 years, when I broke up, well, when we broke up, because it wasn't me who was breaking up with the girl, but we just broke up.
How old are you at this stage?
At this, I was 19, I think. Okay. And then she was 18, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that time I said, okay, well, I have no choice at this point. The idea was that, I went back home because she did not speak a lick of English. So I was like, okay, I'm going to teach her.
Okay.
And I was teaching her, and then, well, we are breaking up now. Okay, fine. Can you give me back the days you stole from me or something.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that. So the idea was like, you have no choice. I don't want to work for like terrible wage.
Then you throw yourself back into England
So I
again.
said, so
The abyss of England.
And the weird thing was, my first job was good in the sense of location. In the sense of job, it was not good.
Yeah.
So this was in like the middle of London, in the city of London, on Fleet Street, pretty close to St. Paul's Cathedral. It was, because you're from London, right?
Yeah, originally from London, like West London, though.
Yeah, West London.
Yeah.
So which is the closest tube station to you?
Oh, it's not. It's because there's no real tube station near me. I was like the outskirts of London. You've got Central London and Greater London. I was more in Greater London, so there was no tubes.
Yeah.
I suppose Waterloo was nearest to me.
All right. Yeah, so I went back there. I was working there for a while. Then I went up to Yorkshire. I was working there as well. And then finally I went up in 2016. I went up to Moray, which is near Aviemore in Scotland, near the Cairngorm National Parks. But the problem there was that there were no tourists there, because the way that the managers tried to sell the place was like, okay, you see this great hotel, come in, you're close to the ski parks. Yes, but the ski parks in Aviemore are never that full.
Yeah.
That they cannot take any more customers. So it was just crazy, and I did not want to work 8 months per year and then be fired and then re-employed.
Yeah, so you have a 4-month layoff where all the money you've earned will get spent while you're waiting to work again.
Exactly. So I said, no, that's not for me.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, okay, yeah. And then another job came up, and then I went there, and now more or less, I'm here. And this is the only place where I properly worked.
Yeah.
I worked 2 months back home.
Yeah.
And then I worked 6 months in Slovakia. But here, if you add up everything, I worked more than 2 years, more or less.
So up to this stage, right? Because when you first get to England, you're with this bullshit agency that's just fucking you over. Then you go back, your relationship ends, you come back, you've been in a city, you've been up in Scotland. Over this time, what's your impression of England? How much has it changed from start to finish? Is it still a shit country at this stage of your job experience? Or?
No, not really. But the time is a bit off.
Oh, okay.
The way that I explained, I think it was my fault that how I explained it. But more or less what happened. I go to England, right? It's shit. Okay, I come back. I break up. Well, we break up with. Well, we break up. You and I, Dan, broke up with my girlfriend.
So we broke up with
you and I.
Dan.
I helped you.
It's your fault, Dan.
All right.
So we broke up, not you and I, my girlfriend.
Yeah, no, I understand. I get it.
No.
Yeah.
I don't swing that way, yeah. But yeah, so there's the big breakup. Okay, I come back, I start in London. I go up to Yorkshire, and then from Yorkshire I go up to Scotland.
Yeah.
But this was 1.5 years, more or less. So it's not just traveling up there. And then Brexit happens and stuff.
Yeah.
But also, well, no, there are news about Brexit.
Okay.
Oh, wait. When did they vote? In 2016?
The election would have been 2016. No.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So in the end, I knew that it's going to be Brexit, so it's not news, because the news were in London.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I knew it's going to be Brexit, right? And then it's okay, do you want to come back, the next year? They say in 2017, after 4 months. I say, I want to work. I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to be a part-timer, in a few months or something.
Yeah.
So I go back home. And when I go back home, I was pretty angry. I lost this job. What am I going to do? This is shit. Brexit is happening. I'll be like, fuck the war, what will I do? Do I have to work for like terrible money in Hungary or Serbia? Well, terrible money, by terrible money, I mean it's in Serbia is 200 euros, which would be like 180 pounds per month. In Hungary, it would be around 400 pounds per month, which would be better, obviously, but only compared to but only compared to the other country if you have no choice, if you don't speak English. And I always felt like, because I speak the language, I'm not saying I should be entitled to more, like, you know, I come here and the queen is like, oh, my newest subject, they want some extra money.
Job for you.
Yeah. Zoard, should I knife you now?
Well done for learning our language. Here's some money.
Here's some money. You want to be a knight? Let us clap for 3 hours straight because we like you so much. But I was like, you know, I speak this language. I can do what they're doing in the West. I can do it. And then more or less, But when this happened, the Brexit in 2016, I was so like depressed, like. And I promised myself, I'm never going back to the UK.
Yeah.
That fucking shithole, I hope it sinks to the sea.
Spoiler, he came back.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I'm now here. And I was like, okay, where else can I go? I was thinking about that. And then this on my Facebook, this ad appears, which says like, come and work in Slovakia, whatever. If you have a Serbian passport, I'm like, oh, I have a Hungarian one, which is better. Yeah. Because the funny thing was, but you have to know the geography more or less to understand this. But when you have like you have Hungary, then you have Slovakia on top, and really close to Austria. Hungary has a minimum wage of around 550 euros. Which would be like maybe 450 pounds, more or less, 450 to 500.
Yeah.
And then Slovakia is a bit better, which is like 500 to 550. But that's nothing compared to Austria.
Of course.
Which is pretty close. So if you live in a city close to Austria, so that means the western part of Austria or Hungary, you just drive there, work there, come home, same. Like when you go through the border, it's Schengen. So that means you don't have to show your passport or anything. You just fucking drive through. So more or less what the people are doing, you know, because they have this geographic advantage, they just go and they find a job in Austria and they get paid 2,000 euros, 2,400, and they just bring it back home to their own country.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
And it's all about like 40 kilometers or 35 kilometers driving.
It's just like driving to a different town in your own country, just driving over the border.
Exactly. And you go back home to your country and you work in a different country as well. So a lot of people are that. And because of this reason that so many people are driving there and working there, these parts, the countries are absolutely in need of workers.
Yeah.
So they need to import people. Like one part of Eastern Europe needs to import workers from another part of Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Which is usually Serbs. Because all the smart Slovakians, all the smart Hungarians went to work in Austria.
Yeah.
So the factories are empty, like, because they have a lot of car factories there. Those are absolutely empty. So the idea is always to import them. So what they're doing is the Slovaks, like, they let them work there for 3 months. Then if you're a good worker, they will like lengthen your visa and you can work there for 2 years.
You.
Exactly, more or less. But with Hungarians, they instantly say, okay, you can work here because they are also EU citizens.
Yeah.
So Hungarians are in a high demand because of that. I'm like, if you're a smart Hungarian, you're not going to fucking stay there, man.
Yeah.
And so when I was really fed, like really fed up with them, like with England and Brexit and everything, I went home and they were like, oh, jobs in Slovakia. And I applied. And I went to Bratislava for half a year, which was really good, to be honest.
Yeah.
So Bratislava is like really close to Vienna as well, so you can just drive through. It's like less than 20 kilometers to go to Vienna.
Yeah.
and really close to Hungary as well. For example, Sopron or Mosonmagyaróvár, the cities there really close. So it's like the perfect place to go to other countries.
Yeah.
And even to come back in time, like you go morning time, you can be back at like you go at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You go around, you like look around the town, whatever. You come back at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You just like go around, and you've been to like 4 countries or 3 or 4 countries.
Yeah.
So that's like such a nice geographical location.
Is it? Have you done that? Like, have you been to all those different places that are really close? Like you were saying, like Vienna and.
Yes.
Is it different, or are they quite similar? Because they're different countries, but they're really close. So are they the same, or?
Country, yeah. When you're in those places.
Well, you can. Well, I'm not saying that you can tell it that you're in a different country. What I'm telling that people are absolutely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go like 10 kilometers, and
it's like not that I go there and it's like, oh,
so like the scenery is pretty similar.
This building doesn't look the same. Scenery is always almost the same in like that place because it's the Carpathian Basin.
But the atmosphere of the people is very different.
It's different, yes. But even like architecture, more or less, is the same because Austro-Hungary, same old buildings, right? Then like these kind of new buildings. But when you meet people, how they behave, that's the part which you like, which strikes like, that's fucking different.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would be so strange to like travel like in one day and see people speaking 4 different languages. You're just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. You can do that if you just like go around.
Yeah.
It's not going to take long. I think it's going to be less than a 2-hour drive around.
Yeah.
That's to touch all the countries. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a second, guys.
Getting back into Slovakia.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was your experience over your 6 months there? Like, what were your opinions on the country? How did you find it over there?
Well, it's really hard to answer because I was in Bratislava, or Pozsony, as the Hungarians call it. We naturally, like the Hungarians, so in Eastern Europe, the thing is, you always hate your neighbor. Well, not always, but more.
Hate your neighbor or hit them.
Hate your neighbor, yeah.
Oh.
So when you have Hungarians, the Hungarians hate at least 2 of their neighbors, like really seriously. Like Hungarian-Romanian hatred, absolutely serious.
Oh, I thought you meant like next door neighbors, like when you're living in a house. You mean like border neighbors, like country?
Yeah. No,
I
don't mean like go to your neighbor.
I'm his next door neighbor.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like in the morning you get out of your bed and you just go fuck off to your next door neighbor.
I hate you.
No, I mean your neighbor, your bordering country. But, So when you have the Hungarians, but it's mostly because of territorial disputes, because of the Second World War and the First World War.
Yeah.
That's the main reason, more or less. So because Hungary was, huge because of Austro-Hungary, and Slovakia got its part like cut out from this empire, and then Romania got and then Romania got the part, and then Slovakia, which was like 90% of the country, which was actually like Hungarian lands, went to Slovakia, and Vojvodina as well in Serbia, which was Hungarian, went to Serbia.
Yeah.
And because all of this, they're like, but the weird thing is the Hungarians only hate Romanians and the Slovakians nowadays.
Okay.
So when I went to Slovakia as a Hungarian, I'm like, well, who knows who will fucking kill me now?
Yeah.
Just like, which guy will get a switchblade out and stab me? Yeah. But they were all right because they realized that they had a lot of like Hungarians there in Pozsony, which is their capital. In Slovakian they call it Bratislava, the Hungarians call it Pozsony.
Okay.
But there's a lot of them there. So it was all right. But for example, the Serbs, obviously they hate the Albanians because of Kosovo, and then the Serbs hate the Croatians because of Yugoslavia. The Greeks hate the Macedonians because they're like, you're stealing the name that we made up. How dare you?
So basically all the Eastern European countries are like, fuck off!
But the weird thing is everybody hates Bulgarians.
Hey, everyone loves Bulgaria.
Everybody hates Bulgarians because
it's because Bulgaria is the best.
No, that's because you had the first Balkan War before the First World War, which was when all the Serbs, the Greeks, the Bulgarians, the Albanians, everybody just like teamed together and kicked out the Ottomans, the Turks.
Mhm.
And then the second Balkan War, when the Bulgarians betrayed everyone and started to just like land
I think we
everyone.
fucked up everyone in the Balkan Wars, right?
We need some land. Can we take
Yeah.
this, please? And
Yeah.
then just started, attacking them. So
Okay.
so Bulgarians are still like, oh, fucking Bulgarian traitors
Hey.
all the time, everywhere in
Yeah.
Eastern Europe.
Bulgaria is the only country that hasn't been renamed, so go fuck yourself.
Well, how many times have Hungary been renamed?
Right.
But
Getting
sorry,
off of Eastern European disputes
Yeah,
back to
but
Slovakia.
but you have to understand
Yeah.
this, because otherwise you will not know like the full story.
Yeah.
So when I go to Slovakia, I'm like, I don't know what should I fucking expect, because my people and their people have been like, in this I wouldn't say like war, but like this like
Just constant hate.
constant hate and like psychological war, everything.
Yeah.
Like if anything bad happens to someone in
You blame it
Slovakia,
on the.
who is but wait, so if anything that happened to this random Hungarian dude in Slovakia, which is bad, then the Hungarian media would be like, oh, fucking Slovakians, fucking genociding our people or something like that.
Yeah.
So they go always overboard. So it's all
Yeah.
propaganda,
Yeah.
because like these two sides, they just hate each
Yeah.
other all the time.
They always make the other look bad.
Exactly. So when I went there, I'm like, I don't know what to expect. And then I went into this big, like it was like a huge like staff house, but it wasn't like a staff house. It looked like a warehouse, like size-wise, but it had rooms and everything. It was fine. And then nobody there was Slovakian. We had like one or two Hungarians, and the rest of them were Serbs. I'm like, oh, with Serbs I can communicate.
Yeah.
And they are crazier, by the way, than Slovaks.
Yeah.
Like that way. So I'm like, with them I can communicate. It's gonna be all good. And then it was all good actually.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them have been there for a while. Because what they're doing, more or less, that they start working in Slovakia. They try to get their what you call it? They try to get like their like, it's not really a visa. It's more like they give you like, it looks kind of like a national ID card,
Right.
and then you can work in Slovakia for a longer time. Because otherwise, you can only work there for 3 months.
It's a sort of like a part-time citizenship.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So
Temporary
imagine,
citizenship.
so imagine it like this way. You come to Slovakia.
Yeah.
You're a Serb. You
Yeah.
can work there for 3 months.
Awesome.
And then they decide, okay, this guy, he's all right. We should employ him full time or something.
They know me well.
And then they give you this card. And this card means, more or less, that if you go to another Slovakian government agency, you can get the visa for like a year or 2 years to work there.
So you can stay for an extended period rather than leave at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If you're good, but for the Serbs it's always 3 months. But for a Hungarian, you can stay there as long as you want, because
Everybody loves Hungary.
EU.
Yeah, it's because it's EU. But as I said, in those 6 months, I never learned Slovakian.
Yeah.
Never. I learned one word, which was fajčit, which means to smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Or fajčiti, to smoke a cigarette. Or fajčim, I'm smoking a cigarette.
Okay.
And that was it. I never learned another fucking word. Why?
So it's enough to get by.
Because I was surrounded by Serbs.
There was no need to learn
who were speaking Serbian.
Yeah.
And I'm a Hungarian, I speak Serbian, it was just Serbian. So when I came here to the Shetland Islands, and one of the managers, as we know, is Slovakian. I'm like, oh, I worked in Bratislava for 6 months. And then she said, oh, really, do you speak Slovakian? I'm like, no, I don't. because
Fuck no.
Why would I learn it? Why? It's like I lived in this staff house, which they call ubytovna. Maybe that's the second word I know in Slovak.
There you go, mate.
And then I explained it to her. But then when I explained like the city, the layout, where I've been, and she understood that yes, this guy has been living there in that town.
No, she thought you were just bullshitting before. It's like you lied about being in my country.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that was what like she was feeling. Yeah, when we were like sitting in the car, and I asked her, to like take me around in her car because it was like ice everywhere, and I had like heavy luggages.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to slip and break my neck instantly. So
She's just like, I hate
go
these
around.
lying
Like, I told you I
Hungarians
fucking
saying
hate
that
the
they've been to
UK.
Oh yeah,
Slovakia.
and she told me that there was this woman from Slovakia who came to work here, and then she was born in Slovakia, right? And then when she went up to her and started to speaking Slovak to her, she was like, I don't speak Slovakian, I'm Hungarian. I only speak Hungarian even though I'm from Slovakia.
Okay.
So the big difference here is I speak Serbian and I'm from Serbia.
Yeah.
Not like, to be fair, at this point, my English and my Serbian are kind of on like the same level.
Okay.
I'm kind of starting to lose the Serbian language
Because you haven't needed it for a long
yeah,
time.
exactly. But I mean, Hungarian is still Hungarian.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's like a bit hard. But to be fair, that's a really nice place, Slovakia, full of like. Now I'm saying that it's a nice place, but I hate how it's full of tourists a lot of times.
Okay.
Because like what I hate, it's I don't mind tourists, no problem with tourists, but there are, for whatever reason, and I never understood why, so many Americans there.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember this when we went to work, and it's like 6 Serbs, and the thing that you have to know about Serbs is that all 6 of them were like these southern mountain Serbs.
Okay.
And when somebody's from the mountains, that means that they are a bit, because they're like these mountain clans, whatever, they're like, hardcore people.
Okay.
And then this American guy is talking to this 16-year-old Slovakian guy, and then he's like, I want to see the castle. Where is the castle? Where is the castle? The guy's like, I don't speak English. He's like, yeah, but you're a young guy. You must speak English.
Right. Yeah.
And then this guy was so uncomfortable. He was like going to the other part of the bus, because we always took the bus to go to work.
Yeah.
Then this guy follows him, and then all the Serbs, because the Serbs like hate them because of like the 90s and the war and stuff, because America bombed Serbia. So you just see like these 5 Serbs just like looking at him like this everywhere he went, like in a snake.
Yeah.
If he got off, we're going to fucking beat him up.
Right.
So it's like always like that. So I'm happy that, and this American was drunk, but all of them instantly you can see like that rage.
Yeah. So like from the mountains, they get aggressive quite quickly. Then.
Yes, they do, and especially if you're an American. If they say that, if you go there and then you say, okay, I'm an Englishman, he's like, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're an American.
Okay.
You bombed us 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Time to die. Like that, So, and I always urge this to people who go to Eastern Europe, like always learn the culture, always know which country hates who.
Yeah.
Because this happened when my uncle was, because we had 2 wars in the last 25 years in Serbia. And one of my uncles, he was sent to Kosovo. And in Kosovo, the thing is that Kosovo is Muslim, and 95% of them or more are Albanians. So they speak Albanian instead of Serbian. And the Serbs are like, no, you still have to speak Serbian. This is part of Serbia. And then the Albanians are like, the 95% like, no, we speak Albanian. This is the majority.
Yeah.
So that's the main fighting about.
Mm-hmm.
And when this was the war, and my uncle was, in like the full soldier outfit and everything. And then he says to the Albanians that he's Hungarian.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, okay, he's Hungarian, he's not Serbian. Come to my house, eat some food, drink some alcohol. You're not Serbian, we like you. Hungarian, that's good. No, North guy, yeah, from North, yeah, oh, good guy.
Yeah.
Like this. And they were the friendliest people ever. So what I'm saying is that like this ethnic tension is always there, like, always
Yeah,
there.
there's always underlying sort of tension.
And I think this is like the main problem why Eastern Europe is so shit to work and live in.
Okay.
And because they
Because
cannot
of all the
they-
prejudices.
exactly, and they cannot work together as countries, but they cannot even work together as like, you know, inside one country.
Yeah.
Because even there, they're like, okay, I hate this like sub-nationality. I hate this like small specific ethnicity.
Mhm.
We the Northerners are better than the Southerners. We are better. We are better in this county. We are a lot better than the others in that county.
Yeah.
So like they're not thinking about
So
that.
everyone's thinking of their own sort of region of Eastern Europe over all the
Exactly,
others.
and also about history. What I like about the West, like you don't hear the English and the French going on like, oh, we had so many wars. Now we hate each other. Still now. Yeah, you
Not
hate.
on that level at all.
Yeah,
No, I wouldn't like
There's
instantly
just-
hate a
there's
French
just-
person.
There's just a little bit of like typical sort of.
It's like take the piss out of them kind of thing.
Yeah, but
I
that's
wouldn't, I
joke,
wouldn't hate
you know?
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
Exactly. That's what I mean, and that's like a big difference
Yeah.
because in on the Balkans. But the weird thing is like it never changes. Like all these young people, they realize how shit it is, and they just go to Western Europe. And I'm not saying
Yes,
they
they
should
sort of-
stay there and they'll be like, okay, time for a revolution or something. I'm not saying they should do that. No, but what I'm saying is that like like there's nothing like my mother who is now 50 what 58.
Okay.
And then she's saying, if she would be 48, she would come to here and work as whatever, as a cleaning lady, and she's the head bookkeeper in the town.
Yeah. So things don't change because those that are young and have sort of the know-it-all will leave the country rather than sort of re-establish it.
But also nowadays that Serbia tries to be in the EU. The idea, absolutely stupid idea. And nowadays they are like, oh, but look at us, we are really Western. We're look at us, we're really Western. And our head of state always goes to like Hungary, to take pictures with Orban. And Orban is one of the guys who's like really against, like he's not against the EU because he likes the EU money, but against how the EU is run.
Okay.
So it's like it's just like a terrible idea. So I always say go to Eastern Europe. The people there are nice. Because by tradition, for example, the Serbs, when you travel through Serbia and you go up to like these mountain parts in the south, you can be anyone except an Albanian or a gypsy.
Okay, yeah.
And you will be treated really well. Because they'll be like, oh, he's just a traveler.
Yeah.
We should help him out.
Yeah.
We are nice. Because when you live in the mountains, like the weird thing is, be that in Albania, be that in Serbia, but all these people who live up on the mountains or in Romania, they have this type of culture, which is that they give you everything. Like, okay, here is some alcohol, here is the food, here is whatever. But when you say, okay, I don't need this, when you refuse, they will get really angry at you.
Yeah.
And that's because that's how they are raised. When you're in the mountain, you don't have anything, more or less. And
You're being disrespectful.
Exactly. So you always have to be like friendly with the other mountain people. So they're used to like, giving stuff to them, what they don't have. And then they take it. And it's just, respect, working together, that the other guy is going to give that to you.
Yeah.
But then when you like refuse it or something, it's like,
it's like a slap in the face kind of thing. It's like when you don't have much. And
I don't have much, and I'm giving this to you, so accept it.
Exactly. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, it's to go to Eastern Europe, it's really nice, but at the same time, always know what type of culture.
Yeah, do your research before you go to the country.
Yeah, but this is advice for if you go anywhere.
I'd say that if you go to any country, you should know a little bit about.
Okay,
so you don't like offend them and stuff.
Yeah. So like
with that hair, you would offend most of Eastern Europe.
But I don't care about that. They can go fuck themselves. I'm just kidding. I love Eastern Europeans, really.
We've been speaking about Eastern Europe a lot, and obviously, like you said, a lot of your working life you've been in the West.
He has Eastern European blood. I don't have that.
Yeah, but so coming to the West for work and all of that kind of thing. Obviously, having lived here for a good amount of time now and having grown up in Eastern Europe, you have a feel for both, right? So what to you is like the biggest cultural differences you notice? Like when you came over, were you sort of like, wow, they do this way compared to back home where we do it that way? Like what are the biggest sort of differences culturally?
I'd say the things that I noticed was cooking wise, which I hear from a lot of other Eastern Europeans as well. Cooking wise, the Western people, especially here, they don't use enough spices, so the cooking is shit. It tastes of nothing. That's the first.
I can agree with that, man. My nan, she cooks the best food, and then like I'll agree with that.
He agrees. Thank you.
I think most people do agree with that. Even
English food is so bland.
I think any English person that's been out of England and has tasted food from other places would probably agree with that sort of comment.
But you'll see the guyash today.
Yeah.
After we're done, it's going to take like 45 more minutes.
He's cooking me some Hungarian food for tonight.
What are you cooking?
Guyash.
Guyash?
Guyash. It's a stew. I found some, already diced up beef, already diced up lamb.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I got the vegetables here. So it's not going to be a traditional one because the vegetables here are a bit different.
Yeah.
We use different type of potatoes as well, but it's going to be still kind of similar as similar you can get with the ingredients here, more or less.
So going back to the main.
So that's the first thing, cooking wise, what I noticed, and that was when I was like a waiter bringing out food, and I'm like,
He's looking at like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly. So that is the first thing, and the second thing was the drinking culture.
Yeah, the drinking. You said that.
The drinking culture works like this. In Serbia, you can get you don't really get drunk at pubs or at like restaurants or stuff like that. You get drunk with people around you, then you go out to town and you can do like crazy stuff when you're drunk with your friends, and that happens. Or you go to one of your friends and they have like this outdoor like grill party, but like Eastern European grill, not like normal Western grill, and then they get absolutely smashed there. Like those are the things you don't really go out with friends. Yeah, you said like you
break furniture, didn't you? And
exactly. Yeah. And you don't really go out. Like you can do like anything when it's like a big party and when you're drunk. But what I'm saying is that here, when you go out with friends to a pub, it's normal that you get drunk. You get like proper drunk. Walk home drunk, whatever. In Serbia especially, it's not normal that you go to a pub and go home drunk. If you want to party with friends, you're going to get like you're going to make like a private meeting, and everybody gets drunk, and then you do whatever you want. It's more like a private thing. Then you might go to town and be drunk, walk around in the town being absolutely smashed, whatever. But it's not like here that it's like, okay, let's go out, and then everybody gets drunk at the place, and then they're happy. But I think it's for the better, because in Serbia they are much more.
They said it's more dangerous.
Yes, more or less. It's more dangerous because here you're still like. It's like, okay, I'm drunk, whatever, if somebody says at the pub, like, okay, you're too drunk, we're not going to serve you, have to go home.
Yeah.
In Serbia, that would be easily like a bar fight. Like, how dare you So it's completely different that way. So back home it's like more aggressive, and you have to show a lot of strength back home. Like if somebody is like fucking faggot, going to you, you have to show something. Like you have to be like, no, I'm not, even though
Yeah,
you
you
know
have to be.
you're not, because that is just like so many things is just about honor, just about your fame or infamy, more or less. And when I came here, I just realized how chill this place is. Even though the only difference here that the Westerners are doing that sometimes they're speaking behind your back,
Mhm.
but
Oh
that is
yeah.
that's like the only difference, that the Serbs do not do that. They go up to you and they say, "I fucking hate you. I'll punch you. I'll fucking kill you now." And then they'll tell this to you, and then you know that they don't like you, and then that's it. But here it's always like, oh, let's go to someone and we say something. That was another bit of like a weird thing. So like cooking, how they behave, and those were the two main things. And I'm not saying like I never try to be someone, you know, when I come here, you know, that I'll bring the culture from back home. I never try that. Like I know that the culture back home is like really, really flawed. But the thing is that it's like a love-hate relationship all the time, because at the same time you like the how honorable some of the Eastern Europeans are, because they have like an honor code, and you know they wouldn't lie, they wouldn't say anything bad about you behind your back. If you're a friend with someone, you're always a friend with them. Like they would, you know, always help you out.
Well, would you
But
say that Eastern Europeans have more respect then? Like you say, like they got more honor and that. Because
yeah,
I could say
but
that like
it's a different type of respect.
mm,
That's the main thing about them. I told you that story, but I'll tell him as
Yeah.
well. So there was this story which I always tell to understand, even though they have a lot of honor, they have a lot of respect.
It's a crazy story.
And you know, if you're a friend with and one Eastern European, like one Serb, for example, says that you're my friend, and they say ti si moj drug, you're my friend, then that means, you know, he will protect you, he will help you out whatever time. If you kill someone, he will help you bury the body, whatever. They're like absolutely loyal that way. But the story here that I told Ben already, but I'm going to tell you as well. This happened a few years back in my city, in my town, and there was this Hungarian guy who was a waiter at this pub.
mm-hmm.
And this drunk Serbian guy comes in. He was like from the mountains. So when somebody's from the mountains in Serbia, that means they're crazy, because they live on these secluded villages up on the mountain with like no other villages, you know, inside. They just go there
Isolated.
Communication to the outside world.
absolutely. Yeah. So he comes down, right? He just moved into the place like half a year before, and he's drunk. He goes into the pub. He starts some shit. This Hungarian guy pushes him out, grabs him right by the collar, pushes him out, slaps him on the face, and the guy disappears. He gets really angry. He disappears. He goes home, gets his gun, comes back, opens the door. The guy tries to push the door back in, but the guy shoots him 6 times in the chest. But why? But why? What was the problem here? Was it because they were drunk? No. The problem was that the Hungarian guy slapped him with an open palm. And in their culture, you only slap women with an open palm. So that means if you slap someone, that means that that you're saying that you're a woman, which means you're worse than a man. So that's disrespect. So it was like, I suffered disrespect. I have to kill you now.
Yeah, apparently if he'd have been punched with a closed fist, it would have just ended there and he wouldn't have got shot.
Exactly, because that means it's a man-man fight.
So you really want to learn the culture and stuff about a place and don't go around slapping people.
Because even
I mean, I wouldn't slap people anyway. But
no, but I'd rather punch him in that situation.
yeah, but Bulgarians are the second worst after the Serbs, I think.
What for?
For like this type of mentality, what I mean.
Yeah, I heard that the mountain people in Bulgaria are pretty bad as well. But then you get a lot of gypsies as well in Bulgaria and shit. Yeah, it's probably quite bad, but I've never seen that. Obviously, I only go there.
worst after the Serbs. Like only the Bulgarians are like who can like touch the Serbs in barbarity, like that way in their culture, more or less.
Yeah, probably. Well, I
But,
mean,
but
what,
also
the ancient Thracians, man, fucking warriors.
they are not ancient Thracians.
Yeah, of course. Bulgaria is. Bulgaria's Thracian.
No, it's not.
Of
The,
course it is.
the Thracians and the Dacians have been dead for fucking thousands of years, mate.
I'm just saying the land.
Bulgarians, yeah, the land. Oh, you know.
What, you don't think they're descended from them?
Once content was Roman. What do we call it now? Roman land.
I'll call it whatever I want to make it sound cool, mate.
Thracians, they're Slavic. They are Mongol Slavic, more or less Turkic Slavic. The Bulgarians. But with them, so to all the travelers who go to Eastern Europe, don't look like a Westerner. That's the first thing.
Don't look like a Westerner.
Huh? Yeah, like a proper Westerner. Like.
How can you not look like you look?
I'm not saying that you have to like change your face, but like the way you like walk, the way like you look around, like asking people for directions or something, how you dressed up. If you look like a tourist, they're like, easy prey.
I thought you said if people go to countries like Serbia and they're obviously a traveler, people are nice about it.
Yeah, but if you go to a big town, then no. If you go to like the smaller villages, smaller towns, then they're really nice. Okay. But in the big cities, because the big cities are full of criminals, they'll be like, oh, that's an easy catch. Okay. So if, for example, you would go to Serbia, right? You would fly to Belgrade. Mm-hmm. Then when you go down in the mountains, it's going to be fine. But from Belgrade to go down to the mountains, you would like still, look around, whatever, walk around. If you leave something, especially in Belgrade, the gypsies or like these like absolute dragos would just like, take that stuff instantly. Yeah. So it's always like, be careful, like
be aware of your surroundings.
Exactly. All the time in Eastern Europe.
I feel like that's something that any traveler, no matter where they are, should know though.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you go to like if you're in England or if you go to a lot of places in Western Europe, people here they have like honor in the sense like they do not pay. So for example, when you're a bartender, and like for example, you forget something to put on their bill. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, I had this as well. They would say that. Okay. But I feel like in a lot of Eastern European places, they're like, oh,
they just allow it. Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything because I have more money in the end.
Yeah.
Like that way. So it's like a different thing. So always be aware of your surroundings. Always go to places where there are tourists because that's going to be the safe one for. Like if you're an experienced Eastern European traveler, then okay, it's fine. You can go wherever because you know the culture, you know how things work. But if it's your first time, always go somewhere where there are
go to the populated areas.
Exactly, and then some culture will rub on you, and then next time you come, you can go and go anywhere you want, more or less. But before that. You should always do that. Otherwise, you'll be like really surprised. Like you would offend people by things you would not think it's offending because it's just like a different mentality.
Yeah.
So always when you go do like this like scout run, I'd say. And this is true for almost all Eastern European countries except the proper like Central European countries. Because when I say Central European, I usually mean Slovakia, Hungary, and the Czech Republic. Those countries are like Western Europe.
Yeah.
Even though they're like in the east for English people.
Yeah.
But it's like Central. But by Eastern Europe, I mean like Poland, Ukraine, Romania, Moldavia, Bulgaria, Serbia, Croatia.
What about, I was going to say, what about Croatia? Because like you said, they get a lot of tourists, right? So they can't be...
Yeah, no, it's not bad. But the thing about Croatia is that they have these places where there are tourists, and then
they have places that are isolated. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
So it's always like you go to Dubrovnik, or you go to Zadar.
Yeah,
those are the towns that people go to.
See, my thing with Croatia and stuff like that, the main places I'd be hitting are all like the national parks and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I told you about Plitvice.
Yeah.
That's a really nice place. That's a beautiful, beautiful place full of like these natural lakes and waterfalls and really nice mountains. And I don't know if there are mountains, but like proper forests.
Yeah.
It's like one of the most beautiful places ever.
Mm. So
what I'm saying, be smart.
Yeah.
Be smart, be prepared.
Okay. So moving on from that, if we just go into traveling full stop now,
Yeah.
what are you, if you look back on all of your time outside of your country, what are sort of the moments that pop into your head where you're like, oh, that's one of my favorite moments from traveling in other countries? Like what are some of your best parts of traveling? Like
Well, my first one that pops into my mind would be when I was in Montenegro, and you had like this traveling aqua park there, and for 35 euros you could swim with a seal, and for 25 you can swim with the dolphin. But the thing was that with the dolphin, you could not touch the dolphin, so they're just more or less swimming in the same pool as you are. So that's like not a good way to spend 25 euros. But the other thing was that if you pay 35 in Montenegro, right, you can go into the same pool with this seal and you can swim on the seal. So like you grab its like fatty neck, and then it's going to like swim and stuff. And then that's like one of my best memories when I was a kid, when I was like 12. I remember the trainer saying like in Serbian like kiss, kiss, kiss in Serbian, and then the seal was putting the flippers on my shoulders and then kissed me, but it had like, you know, this what do you call it?
Flubber?
What do you call it?
Whiskers.
Whiskers. Yeah, whiskers. Yeah. And the whiskers were like, you know, like really sharp, and like it hurts, and the seal puts it into your ear, and it's like and just blows all the water into your ear because that's what it thinks kissing is, and it's like. And I'm like, ow, my ear now hurts.
He's just got a seal spitting on his face and stabbing him with whiskers.
Yeah, and try to like push me down because when the seal put the flippers on me, it's like pushing me and almost under the water.
It was trying to drown you and
drowning him, spitting on him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh yeah.
You paid $35 to get drowned and spat on.
And then I come and then I come up, I'm like, I almost died, and my parents are like, yeah.
They were taking pictures, just like, oh, bravo, Zoard.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the first things, and then, well, mostly, you know, I like to get drunk everywhere, more or less.
That sounds like a traveler.
That's the curse of the Eastern European, because Hungary is the 9th most alcoholic country in the world, and Serbia is the 11th. So I'm like the 10th most alcoholic person in the world.
Yeah.
More or less. But my second best memory was when the first time I was in the Starigrad, as you called it, or Starograd, the old town in Slavic, in Bratislava. And I remember there was this girl there.
Okay.
And her job was just to like promote a fucking striptease club.
Yeah.
But she wasn't like, you know, like a dancer there.
She wasn't a stripper.
Yeah, she looked like a nerd out of a fucking library.
Okay, yeah.
And she's like, oh, go to the strip club, go to the strip club, go to the strip club on this like historical beach. And I'm like, and I'm really drunk, and I come out of the only English pub in Bratislava. Okay. And the guy was from Oxford, right? So I'm like, okay, that's English. And then all the guys working there were French. I'm like, what an English pub this is, eh? Called Red Lion. Everybody here is French. You have the French flag
Red
up
Lion
there.
is such an English pub name. Everywhere is called the Red Lion. I swear, that's such a common name.
Yeah, and this is the most common. And but only the owner was English, and everybody else is French. You have like the French flag up there, and I'm like, what an English pub? And then they sell the same piss lager that they have in Slovakia anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh wow, what an English pub. What makes this English? Because it's called the Red Lion and the owner is from Oxford. Oh, it's so English now. So when I come out, I'm like really disappointed. I just walk. On the bridge, I meet this girl, right? Yeah, you want to go to striptease club? I'm like, I don't have the money for that. I have an honest job. I don't have money to like buy the stuff for the dancers, and I don't want to. I just want to drink some more. But then we start talking, and I stopped her from working for like 45 minutes at least. But I mean, what job is that when you just yell at people, yo, you want to go to striptease?
Yeah, promoting. You're a promoter.
Yeah, but there were no people at the old town that day. So it was just like standing on the
But you're
on
a
the
shit
bridge.
promoter then.
And then yelling.
I wouldn't say it's the best place to go and promote a strip club. That's for sure.
No, but you're not aware of your surroundings, promoter.
No.
But the funny thing was that the striptease club was right next to it. But like, the old town, the weird thing about it is like, a lot of like it's like really historical, but not on a like you don't see tourists there on like Wednesday. You don't really see that many tourists there at all.
Yeah.
It's like when she's like promoting, like, oh, you want to go to striptease club? Go there, here and here. It's right over there. And then you see all these lights, just like pointing at the striptease club.
Yeah.
It's like not really promoting. It's like
this is the striptease club.
Yeah.
it's a striptease club. You want to go there? Go there. Tell my name.
Yeah.
I'm like talking with her, and I'm like stopping her from working. But then I was like, oh, you want to go on a date? I'm like, let's go. And then she said, okay, fine. And then but at this point I was like really, really, really drunk.
Yeah.
Then we go into this place, and then
Did you
there
take
is
her for a
this.
date in the strip club?
I think she just used you, mate.
I say 2 pints of lager. Oh, we don't have lager now. I'm like, okay, whiskey. And the whiskey costed me £4 in fucking Bratislava.
Okay.
I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, am I in London now? I'm like, okay, let's drink it. And then he's like, oh, let's listen to the music. And then there was this like live gypsy guy singing some Spanish music.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, mate, why am I doing this to myself? This is not for me. And then I just left, got a taxi, went back home. This was a good memory in the sense that I realized that like when I went into the pub, this was when the downhill stuff started to happen. I realized like this is supposed to be an English pub. It did not look like an English pub.
Right.
I go out, this is like live music. It's just a gypsy they're just like singing a terrible Spanish song, and it's supposed to be proper live music.
Yeah.
And I'm
That
like,
sounds a bit dodgy.
yeah, and that's what I mean. And this was like in the capital, in like the best part.
Yeah.
And it was just dodgy, and they tried to like sell it as like Western Europe, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
like
to
fake
me-
Western Europe, though.
Exactly. And then I realized how fake it is, and I just ran out, left the date there, and I
Yeah.
said, this is not for me. I realized how much I don't really like this. Like, I like the job, I like the town, but
That's when you left Slovakia, more or
yeah,
less.
more or less, yeah.
Okay.
After a month or two, because I thought it's going to be the same or similar as like this to some extent, because it's like a big city. But it wasn't. They were just like trying to copy this, but it wasn't the same or wasn't even close. So I said it's not that, and I'm stupid to think that. But I did not think it's going to be 100% the same. But they were like, oh well, this is Western. Oh, there's so many tourists. English pub here. Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
And that way. And then when I realized this, I was like, nah, this is not really for me. Then I said, Brexit can happen, whatever. We'll see what happens. I'll be there, and then after that, I'll see. I'll think about something when that happens.
Okay.
So more or less, and that was the reasoning behind why I came back, more or less.
Yeah.
So like that's like the second, like I wouldn't say like this is like the best thing, but I wouldn't want to tell to the
It's a defining memory.
defining memory, yes. Because I wouldn't want to be like, oh well, in the Netherlands it was nice to do coke and mushrooms and stuff, because that's a completely different story.
Yeah.
But like that's not like a best story or something.
Yeah.
The important parts, because I started like when we went to Montenegro all the time. I started to like it because they looked because the country looked different. All the mountains, sea, the sea air, really nice. And then when I was like swimming on that seal, when I was like grabbing that seal, and the seal was swimming, I'm like, yes, this is something I cannot feel back home.
Yeah. Okay.
And then when I come here, I'm like, yeah, this is a nice Western country. I cannot feel back home. Then I go to Slovakia, and it's like, oh, this is a nice country. You cannot feel back home. It's really English. It's really Western now.
Yeah.
Come on, tourists. Come on, tourists. I go, and it's like, and you can just feel it's the cheap imitation.
Yeah, you're just like, you don't have your own personality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's just absolutely like cheap, and then you're like, it's not really nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I don't like that. I think even if your culture is a bit like fucked up or something, you should still have like this traditional thing that you can do, or like this traditional setup or something.
Yeah.
Like that people.
When you go to a country, it should have its own personality.
Exactly, that you can experience what it's all about. I don't want to go, but it's kind of the curse of like the bigger cities in Eastern Europe, that it's like, oh, some English people will come here, so let's make a fucking
let's make it
English as possible.
Westerners will enjoy it.
Exactly,
Okay.
more or less. So
that is the problem with being English and travel. I know a lot of people. It's probably going to sound really offensive now. A lot of English people, when they go abroad, they don't go and try and experience other cultures. They want their country, but in a different country.
Yeah,
like
man.
English people, they'll go to another country and they want the English pubs. They want the English food. I'm not saying it's everyone, but I feel like that's why those countries do that kind of shit, because they know that it appeals to English people who want to go on holidays. It doesn't appeal to travelers, but...
No, I was going to say, I feel like if you went to all these countries and their capital cities had far more of its own personality, if anything, that would drive tourism more because of the massive difference, I feel. Like you'd actually feel the difference. You'd be like, wow, this is something new. And that might even make you want to go back there again.
No.
No?
Tourists are not like that, no. And I've noticed that. The thing which is really funny in Budapest, in the capital of Hungary, my best friend is from there. And all the time, every time, he's a waiter there, he's doing like waitering on like Friday to Sunday, but like a lot of hours, like 12, 16, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
He's like a part-time waiter on the weekends. And he's always using like the metro stations. And there is this part in Budapest where you go to, you see like all these drunk people, just like laying on the floor, sleeping here, sleeping there, absolutely done. And not one of them is Hungarian.
Yeah.
Like not one of them. Like there is this street and this not really street, but like this like district of a district.
Yeah.
Which is just like where all the Westerners go and get really drunk, start vomiting everywhere.
Okay.
These dirty stinks. Everybody you meet is just like a drunk Englishman, and he's getting so angry at this point that at one point he said that he's going to take out a knife and start stabbing them in the neck while they are on the ground.
Nice.
So it's just vomiting everywhere. It's just what I don't like about Westerners is that, well, not all Westerners. When I say Westerners, this time I'm saying like these
drunk
like
tourists.
younger
people. Party tourists.
Party tourists. Yeah. Party tourists are the ones that
on lads' holidays and stuff like that.
And in Hungary, nothing will. And in Hungary, nothing will happen to them if they get drunk and pass out on the street. Gypsy might steal their fucking wallet. That's it.
Yeah.
But in Serbia, somebody's going to go there, wake them up, and beat the shit out of them, and they'll leave them in the same spot. So that's the difference. And nowadays, a lot of Eastern Europeans kind of feel that like, oh, because for example, Croatia, the tourism there grew because of Game of Thrones. Yeah. Because King's Landing, the main capital there, it's Dubrovnik.
Okay.
So there are so many drunk people in Dubrovnik nowadays that the Croatians are like going all crazy. They're like, okay, the money is good, but we have to clean a lot.
Yeah, that's why Tom's traveling.
Great.
But yeah.
So
what do you say, Dan?
That's where Tom's traveling to on Tuesday.
Oh, right.
He's
Okay.
going to Dubrovnik now. But he's in Albania at the minute. But
So what I'm saying is it's fine because everybody in Eastern Europe likes to get drunk, but it's not the same way of getting drunk. Like when Westerners get drunk, they like pass out, they do crazy stuff. When Eastern Europeans get drunk, they might fight, but they fight when they're not drunk either.
yeah, they're just already in that state of
Exactly.
fighting.
Yeah, they're in the state of fighting and
They just wake up in the morning. Oh, I could really go for punching someone in the face
They-
today.
They hate their neighbors, mate. They just wake up, go next door, and punch their neighbor in the face.
you know how many times I've actually seen that? You would not fucking believe.
Yeah.
There's this pub called the Blonde Tisa pub
Yeah.
in my town. It's not a pub, so don't think that it's like an English pub or whatever.
Yeah. It's just a bar, a little bar.
Yeah, it's just a little bar with like, but it's called Old Tisa pub, right? Because pub is such a nice name. You know, we can sell our place that way. You know, it's such a nice name. They're thinking like that.
Yeah.
And it's just the old alcoholics there, like, you know,
Yeah.
people on pension and stuff. And one of my friends, let's say, who's 63, I drink with him sometimes when I'm back home and we play cards.
Yeah.
He said when he went there, because he's a regular there,
Okay.
there was this guy that he owed. He gave his chainsaw to him for like a week or
Right.
something like that. And then when he got it back, it had like no oil, the chain was off and stuff like that. So he's like, I'm going to kill this guy now.
Right.
But he's like this tall. He looks like fucking Master Yoda, you know?
Okay.
He's like
Yeah.
he's
Really
like a
little
small
guy.
Yeah, little guy, small old person. He's like 65. And then he's like explaining to me, like, you know, when they like shook hands, he did not stand up because in Eastern Europe, when you shake hands with someone,
It's got to be a strong shake.
you stand up to give the respect.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to like stand up absolutely. If you're sitting, you just be like, oh,
Yeah.
and then just do this because this is already like giving the respect.
Yeah.
So that was also a weird thing that the English people, when somebody is standing, the other is sitting, they just shake hands, and one of them is sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
And like this is like really weird to me, because all the time in Eastern Europe, you don't have to like stand up and be there like for 10 seconds and just shake his hands because like I give you respect now. No, it's just you're just like you're standing, I'm kind of standing.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's fine. So then he's like, okay, I'm going to just sit. And then he puts his legs at the table legs as well. And then when they shook each other's hands, he pulled the guy over the table.
Yeah.
Started breaking bottles on his head. He's like, why didn't you get the oil for my chainsaw? Why is the chain?
Master Yoda's crazy.
And they started beating him. It's like a normal thing in that place. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
And then he said,
I just
also,
like to be like a fly on the wall, man. Just sit in a bar in Serbia and just wait for crazy stuff to happen.
Yeah, it's like, what are these old drunk people gonna do next?
oh yeah, and he told me this other story, but this was when he was young. This was like 20 years ago. Because he supposedly fucked this guy's girlfriend, and then they met in like this restaurant, which is nowadays closed down, but it's like really popular, like in the 70s, 80s. From the 70s until the beginning of 90s, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good story. And they've been there on like 2 different functions, and then they meet, but they were like, okay, I'm going to fucking beat you up.
Yeah.
Because you fucked my girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And this guy goes into the loo, right? He takes a pee. Then this other guy's like, oh, I heard you fucked my girlfriend. I'm going to fuck you up now. And then he like pushes away his hands once, twice. And then this guy somehow grabs him, right? This old guy, wasn't that old at that time, and like takes off his shirt, like just rips off his shirt.
Right, yeah.
And then he like punches him, elbows him, kicks him in the nuts, everything else.
Yeah.
Then when he comes out, He's like, all the shirt is like just like, you know, ripped and everything.
Yeah.
And everybody thought like, oh, what are you, fucking faggot?
Huh.
And they came, like, no, I had a fight. I'm like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Were you in there with your boyfriend? Because he came out like looking like that, and everybody's like, haha, fucking poof. Like, because that's the first like go to attack in
Right.
Eastern Europe. It's like, no, go and look at the guy. He's on the floor, he's bleeding. And then when they go, he's bleeding. Yeah, okay, you're telling the truth. You're not gay, actually. Okay, I'll believe you now.
Yeah.
So that was like, but it's still kind of like that, unfortunately. For gay people, it's not a good place. If you're gay, viewers, hide it.
What, in Eastern Europe?
Yeah.
It's not like as accepting as the West. obviously.
Everywhere, hide it.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
in
not actually, man, but
I would even say hide it in Hungary as well, even though Hungary is mostly accepting because they have this civil partnership as well. But other than that, in Eastern Europe, it's absolute no.
It's sort of looked
No,
down
no.
upon.
Yeah, because the main reason is more or less the Orthodox religion, because the difference between the Catholics and the Orthodox is that when you're like a Catholic priest, you cannot have a kid, you cannot have a wife, you are for the church. But in the Orthodox Church, or the Eastern Orthodox Church, as some people call it, the priest is the role model,
Okay.
the male role model, because he's close to God, he's a warrior priest, he has to have a wife.
Yeah.
Like in Catholicism, you cannot have, you have to be celibate, you have to take the vow of celibacy. But in like Eastern Orthodox, you have to have a wife because you have to show all the other people how you're a man, you're a husband, you know?
Yeah.
So that way, so because of that, it's like hyper masculine.
So it's like, look at my hot wife. This is what all of you should have.
Exactly, and you're a priest.
Okay.
And this is all because of hyper masculinity, and they are absolutely hyper masculine. They're like,
Okay.
this is a male thing.
So what, because the priest has a wife, therefore every man should have a wife, and any
Yeah.
man that does not is not
Yeah,
a man.
seen as less manly, I guess.
Exactly, and because the priest in Orthodoxy, well, in Catholicism you have like the state, and then you have the church, but in Orthodoxy it always says that your land that you own or that you live on,
Yeah.
reflects heaven.
Okay.
So it's connected. And in like Catholicism, it's like you have the heavenly realm, and then you have the normal realm.
Okay.
But in Orthodoxy, it's the reflection of heaven. So in heaven, there are no gays. They're like this.
According to
they're
the
like,
church.
they're just, man, like you and I. We're like manly men. We are priest warriors. We are paladins.
Right.
And because of that, they're like, they're the manly men, and they are always looked up to by everyone in the nation, because they are supposed
Is it
to
a heavily, all of Eastern Europe's heavily religious, more or less, then? Or?
more or less. But the thing that Westerners do not really understand is that it might not be religion all of the time, because religion and culture is much more closely tied to each other in Eastern Europe.
Okay.
So by what I mean is that I met Serbs who had maximum respect for the Serbian church. They said they don't believe that, all the stuff that happened to Jesus, like that he was born out of a virgin, and that God has three faces, and that there is a creator, and this and that, and what Jesus did. But they're like, oh, but I'm a Serb. Serbian Orthodox Church, that's my religion. So I'm a Serbian
So
Orthodox.
they're religious, but they don't necessarily believe in the religion.
Yeah,
they're just religious to the church.
Exactly, because culture and religion is the same, and this is easy to understand why, because they have been under Ottoman rule, which is Turkish Muslim rule, for 500 years.
Yeah.
And in those years, they were like, we can only stay Serbs if we keep our religion.
Right.
So all the kids are like, you have to stay this religion.
Yeah.
You have to believe whatever. And they feel like if they leave it, like the Bosniaks did, the Bosnians, there were no people called the Bosnians. The thing that happened, that those Serbs who lived there converted to Islam. And nowadays they cannot call themselves Serbs. because the Serbs would be like, "How dare you? How fucking dare you?" My ancestors, they stayed Christian under this 500 years of Muslim propaganda. Your ancestors turned to Islam. You're a traitor. You cannot call yourself a Serb. That's why they call themselves Bosniaks. So that's what I mean. But this is not really like religion. It's not like crazy religion. It's about culture.
It's heritage.
It's heritage culture, yes.
Yeah.
So to them, heritage, culture, religion, same thing. They do not differentiate. That's also a different thing. This is why they are so anti-gay.
Okay. I'm going to go to the toilet quickly. We're approaching 2 hours, so when we get back, we'll start wrapping up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, man.
Cool. No worries. I'll be back now. It's all really interesting stuff, though.
It is, man. It's cool to listen to all of it because obviously you seem to know quite a bit about Eastern European culture, man.
Well, I've been living there for fucking 19 years.
Yeah, of course.
Not 20. Around 20, more or less, because I'm 23 now.
Yeah.
But like those 3 years, I've been like traveling around. So yeah, more or less.
That's pretty cool, man. Oh.
I never met a Bulgarian Englishman. Fucking funny.
A Bulgarian Englishman? That's me, mate.
Like your face is like if I would go into any fucking power plant.
Any what? Sorry?
Any power plant, all these factory workers.
Yeah.
I feel like out of 10, like 2 of them would look like you, but not with the hair. Like if you
if I shave my hair off.
Yeah, exactly.
It, mate. I'm unique. I'm being myself,
If you would be absolute bold, I think we could find like 2 people in every Eastern European power plant looking like you, except the hair. The hair is what makes him look like a Western.
You're common as fuck, mate. Your face all over Eastern Europe.
Yeah, he doesn't have an ugly face or anything.
No, but just a common looking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Especially in Bulgaria.
See, it's weird though because when I go to Bulgaria, people don't really know I'm Bulgarian. So.
Yeah, they're lying, mate. Or you meet gypsies, like.
Yeah.
You look really South Balkanic. So what I'm saying is like Macedonian, South Serbia, Southern Bulgaria, like those parts.
But you should see my brother, man. When my brother looks a hell of a lot more Bulgarian than me.
But then he starts talking like this and they're like, what?
Yeah, that's it. And when me and my brother go to Bulgaria, they speak to my brother in Bulgarian because he's got the tan skin and everything. And then he just says to us ne разберем български, and they're all just like, what? It's like, you don't speak Bulgarian? So fuck. But yeah.
Yeah, with him, but with him, he thinks you think that Bulgarians have to be tanned or what?
No. A lot of Bulgarians aren't tanned, man.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, he looks more Bulgarian than me.
Yeah, but what does more Bulgarian means? Because obviously
he just looks more Eastern European. I think that I look quite English, but I don't know. Obviously, not according to you.
He doesn't. He looks English.
Oh yeah, Dan looks English. Dan's English as fuck.
Dan's English as fuck. Yeah.
I am very English. Yeah.
He looks proper English. With you hide your hair, and I can fucking see that.
All right, so hang on. I just need to remember where the fuck we're at.
All right. Next time I'll tell the story how I fucked 3 Chinese girls in 3 weeks.
Yeah, sure. That's good.
Yeah, that sounds like a great story. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about that as well because I know Eastern European girls are a lot different to Western girls. I want to ask if you got.
Fuck yeah.
We're getting to girl talk next time.
Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, I guess that about wraps up this podcast for now. I mean, we'll definitely have Zoard on again at some point because he's got a lot of interesting topics. Zoard. Huh?
Zoard, yes.
Zoard. We'll get Zoard on again.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's got a lot of interesting topics to talk about, man.
Wait, let him wrap up.
You cannot wrap.
Come on, Zoard.
You're just talking.
I've let you talk this whole goddamn episode. But yeah. So yeah, this
really
is wrapping up the damn podcast. Shut up, Dan.
Wrapping
up the podcast. And yeah, thank you for listening. I hope that you've learned a lot about Eastern Europe and Zoard with his travels. And yeah, stay tuned for next episode where I don't really know what's going to be happening. Dan, have we got any idea what's happening for our next episode yet?
Yeah, we're interviewing Tom.
There you go. We're interviewing Tom.
Link.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be interviewing Tom next time on our next episode. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And this is just going to be a quick plug for our social medias now because we're doing that now. And yeah, so if you want to follow us on Instagram, I think it's just the Lazy Vagabonds. And Twitter is at lazy_vagabonds. And we even got a little Facebook page now as well, the Lazy Vagabonds, believe it or not. So, you know, go and like all of that stuff, and you know, yep. Cheers, Zoard. And yeah, stay tuned for next time, guys. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.